Surgeons of Reddit, what's the weirdest object you've had to remove from someone's butt? MD. But not a surgeon. On my surgery we had to remove a mini Nerf football from someone's butt. He kept apologizing and saying he wasn't gay. Later, the attending surgeon told us that it's always the straight guys coming in with stuff up their butts and they always try explaining that they aren't gay. We received a patient with horrible pain that felt like constipation. He couldn't poop and laxatives weren't helping. We soon found out that the blockage wasn't just constipation. It was a string of beads several meters long that had become tangled into an ugly ball inside. I had to snip it apart and carefully pull pieces of it out. When most of it was out, his asshole became a rocket engine with diarrhea as the propellant. I once had a flatmate who was a nurse. She had a patient who came in complaining of stomach pains, which was caused by the cucumber he'd shoved up his butt a couple of days earlier. Apparently the smell caused by pickling a cucumber in your colon is extremely nasty. I've seen a small size Fanta orange soda can get pulled straight out of a man's rectum. Dunno what qualifies as weird anymore. Between myself and friends. Glass dildo. Vibrating dildo. Travel toothbrush holder. Campbell soup can. Cucumber. Mad light. Cologne bottle. Sean John unforgivable hair. Time capsule. Light bulb. Aerosol can cap. The oddest one was literally nothing. Guy comes in complaining of something stuck up their butt by girlfriend. A doctor feels and nothing there. X-ray and CT scan says maybe something there. I don't feel anything. In the operating room I feel deeper and still nothing. Finally do a full colonoscopy and nothing there. I'm not a doctor. But my cousin is a colorectal surgeon. She's dealt with at least 2 people who've put light bulbs in their butts. Girl I know had suspected cervical cancer. Saw 2 different doctors before a specialist examined her surrounded by trainee doctors. Grabbed and pulled on what everyone thought was an infected, tumorous cervix. It was a love egg. It had been in there for 3 months. Son of a doctor here. My dad removed an entire peeled sweet potato from someone's colon once. He swore that he had just slipped and fell on it. When I worked in the we had a guy come in with a 6-battery mag light stuck up Main Street. The funny part is that it was inserted bulb out and it was turned on. So we laid him down prone and the doc spread his cheeks, then the room lit up like he just cracked open Marcellus Wallace's briefcase. Not the butt. Close to it. My sister worked in a urology clinic and has some very crazy stories ranging from at-home sex change procedures to this case in particular. She had to remove almost 200 BBs from a guy's bladder via his urethra one by one, as the guy had a fetish of shoving things down his urethra. A nurse. I've seen baseballs. Loads of dildos. Cans of soda. Vegetables. There should be a public service announcement about using dildos in the bum. It needs to have balls. Or some sort of base so it doesn't get lost up there. Women's vaginal dildos don't need them. As there is only so far it will go. A doctor I worked with once told a man. It's okay if you want to put things in your rectum. You just have to use the right things. I'd be more interested in what non-medical people have had to help people remove from their butts. Not a surgeon. But a former anesthesia technician while in the army. I had a few interesting cases come through. Top 5. Not in order. 1. Light bulb. Not like a lamp light bulb. But one of those LED lightsaber bulbs that you see air traffic controller people using. 2. 24-inch double-ended ribbed black dildo. That was a guy who had it stuck there. 3. Soda can. 4. Ken doll. This was actually removed from a woman's vagina. 5. Half a baguette. Not a fucking clue how that happened honestly. I've thought about it a lot and just never could figure it out. Had a friend in med school whose assignment was to figure out how his cadaver died. He found about $5 in quarters up the man's ass. Don't shove metal up your ass, metal poisoning is real. From looking at the medical Reddits, I have learned that every type of object known to man has been placed inside of someone's anus somewhere at least once. We progress from sticking everything we see into our mouths as kids to sticking everything in our ass as adults apparently. Edit. Math on the brain. I'm a vet. Dog had eaten the whole roll of poop bags, the plastic baggies people use to clean up after their pets on walks. They unspiraled in his gut and spread from stomach to colon. His owners realized what had happened when he started pooping out bags. And brought him in through a. My coworker went in to cut him. And the scene she described was hilarious. He would intermittently strain a little. And poop out a little section of bags. Someone would tear them off. And he'd be okay for a bit, then poop out some more. Like he was dispensing them for himself. He did great after surgery. An enormous silicone butt plug which broke off at its base inside the patient. It was shaped like a soft cone on a stalk. With the base at the bottom. Had to remove it in pieces. Also. An orang in a bottle 2 years before this butt plug. Endotech here. Had a guy come in with a capped section of PVC pipe filled with mercury because he liked the sloshing when he jerked in his turkin. Had to call in hazmat and security had to be called when he became violent because they wouldn't give the mercury-laden pipe back. Not a surgeon. But trademark sign. Close friends is a radiologist and identified a dildo on X-ray with the diameter of 10 centimeters, 4, and 22 centimeters long lodged in a guy's anus. The dial at the bottom broke off and couldn't get it out. Ended up on the OP table. Edit. Not the first time mentioned this https://www. Reddit. AskReddit comment /42rcdr. What is something that you were surprised about Zig6? Not a surgeon. But a nurse here. One time around Christmas time. Couple of police officer bruff an inmate for possession of illegal drugs. We were confused why he has bruff to the adjust for possession. Anyways, we ended finding out he an Easter egg full of meth in his rectum and they were trying to figure how to get it out without busting it. Well, it was the end of my shift, so I never found out what happened. Honesty, I couldn't care less what happened to him. He was an asshole and treating us like shit, and at the end of 14 hours shift and being short staff. I was ready to get home. Updated. Wow, this is my most upvoted thread. Thanks. Merry Christmas. A friend of mine is a surgery resident, and during one of her trauma shifts a meth head walked in with an incandescent light bulb in his colon. It was shoved in with the wide part first. They were dilating the rectum in an attempt to remove it, and the resident in charge of the procedure managed to accidentally separate the metal base from the glass globe, which immediately shattered under the pressure of the colon. They had to perform a partial colectomy to resolve the complication. Meth is a hell of a drug. A foreign body per rectum is a fairly common occurrence. In my time rotating in the air, the most common things have been yucca roots, avocados, shampoo bottles, etc. But that light bulb story is still unmatched. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen this ray. Somewhere out there in the world there is that one deeply unfortunate person who was actually cooking while naked. Who did slip on the kitchen floor. And whose ass really did slam down on the freshly peeled potato. 1 in a million chance. Poor guy probably went to the ER figuring no one will ever believe me. And just told the attending physician. I'm into some weird kinky tuber sex play. https://www. Reddit. Unexpected comment /5pg8 ac routine surgeries post RWTF. UTM source equals Reddit Android. https://www. Reddit. Unexpected comment /5pg8 ac routine surgeries post RWTF. UTM source equals Reddit Android. And X200B. Edit. Not safe for work. I'm betting on a lot of pencils. Not my story. My friend is a radiographer. A guy came into the hospital with Barbie dolls up his butt. After scans. One came out without too much issue. But the other was too far up. They were worried that if it was pulled out, its arms would open and puncture the bowel. So they scheduled surgery. The X-ray staff waiting excitedly for news. The surgeon then returned and with a serious voice announced, "We've found Ken." Vet surgeon here might have an unfair advantage in this thread. One time a dog ate its own foot. Dog came in missing a paw from the wrist down. Owner had no idea where it went. But the dog also had some serious GI signs. One X-ray elucidated both problems. Not every day you see an abdomen with a literal limb inside. Not a surgeon but my ex was. A policeman and his wife came in because he had something stuck up his butt. When my ex asked what, the wife said a vibrator. Exactly like this one. And pulled out a 9-inch vibrator from her handbag. My mom worked in the ER at Johns Hopkins back in the 70s. She pulled a Coke bottle out of a senator's ass. She refuses to say who though because ethics. Cassava. And everybody in my country knows it cause it showed up in the news because someone in the operating room had the great idea to record a video of it and make it viral. The patient sued the hospital. Weirdest one is from out here in the West Country. UK. Southern toffs and farmers' land, to let you foreigners know. Middle-aged man goes into A&E with something up his back passage. Goes into Zray where he sees my girlfriend. What's up there? 4 baking potatoes. Not the little ones either. Each one about the size of a fist. As he tells it. He was at home cooking dinner and slipped in the kitchen and 4 potatoes went up his ass. Sure they did. A small sculpture of Jerry Seinfeld made of fusilli pasta. I wasn't the surgeon. I was the patient's family doc. And took care of him in the hospital for his short stay after. He had a cue ball get stuck. Not sure exactly what he thought would be the way to get it out. We had a lot of trouble getting it out. The conversation of the surgeons trying to come up with a way to get it out was pretty hilarious. Boyfriend of a girl whose mom is an OR nurse. From her, a hand-carved foot-long wooden dildo from an 80-year-old man's. Story from her father an EOD, a live grenade in the vagina of the very scared cheating girlfriend of a very angry soldier. My friend is literally a butt doctor and she told me patients coming in with 10 in dildo stuck in his anus. Another one with vibrator stuck while it's on. I got to see the Zray of the 10-inch dildo in a butt. That was really something. Apparently he tried to get it out of his ass for a few hours. Struggled really hard. Finally gave up and came in to see a doctor. That shit still makes me laugh. Edit. Second paragraph. I'm so glad you asked this. My favorite sorry was a guy who came in with an can of Glade up his butt. What scent you ask? Timeless joy. Ants? A doc here. As previous posters suggest. It becomes hard to distinguish what is weird anymore. So judge for yourselves. 3 lemons. About a foot of broom handle. A light bulb, which did not survive his adventure. So many toilet brushes, inserted brush and handle first. A series of toothpicks. Any number of bottles. Aerosol cans. etc. My favorite case was a simple dildo. We Zrayed it and the radiologist's report read, there is an approximately 15 cm cylindrical foreign body in the large intestine extending proximally from the rectum. Judging by the indistinct outline of the foreign body. I suspect it is still on. I put a lot of stuff in my butt. Please don't post about it on Reddit. Docs. Not a surgeon. Heard this from my father-in-law who used to work as a nurse. They had a guy come in who had gotten slammed drunk. While he was passed out his friends stuck 2 AA batteries up the guy's dick. Not up his ass. His dick. From what I remember they had to actually cut the guy's dick open to get them out and stitch it back together. Edit. I agree with you guys. I really hope he tried to charge them. He did tell my father-in-law they would no longer be his friends. It's an incredible invasion of privacy. If not sexual assault. I have no idea how one would pull this shit off. Nurse friend had a girl who had a lot of vaginal pain and some bleeding. The doctor took a look and found a horrific smell and discovered a chocolate bar wrapper stuck up there. Turns out her and her BF didn't have a condom and decided the wrapper would do in a pinch. And the jagged edges had cut her on the inside and still had the remnants from several days ago.